everybody, it's Safi and Marco. Dish out on the movies. Today we are both reviewing the second episode of Alien Earth called Mr. October, which I should have recognized what that was all about because I'm very familiar with that time of events of baseball and Reggie Jackson, who was Mr. October. I'm taking a drink.
You know what else Safi's familiar with? Babe Ruth.
No, I'm not. I don't know anything about Babe Ruth.
The candy bar.
Yeah. Which is good. So Marco is still raspy, and I'll be reading his review, and I guess I'll just make comments within it. I did go back and I had read his review for you of episode 1, and I did go back and watch episode 1 before I watched episode 2. So, and I have seen, I think most of the Alien and Predator, which hasn't come into it, but just Alien, but I watched most of the movies, I believe, unless there's something in there that was so crappy that it really wasn't released and I missed it or something, which is always a possibility. So, here it is. Oh boy. Well, I'll try to do this. I didn't bring my glasses. Okay, well, Marco says, this is Alien Earth, Mr. October, episode 2. I like this episode better than the first one because it was easier to follow. That's true. I like the second episode better too, but I like the first episode, but I did like this one better. That being said, I still think the show is a little slow. I also question the constant shots of characters with other characters' faces overlaid on screen. It's kind of weird. I guess it's nice that this show is doing something different. I am continuously reminded of Star Trek in terms of the vibe the show is going for. It does remind me of Star Trek too. Actually, certain events I can't think of right now, but yeah. I love the creature effects, and seeing xenomorphs on screen never gets old. The concept of the synths is interesting too, Marco, because you can already tell children's minds being in adult bodies isn't a good idea. I will also say I love the mysteries and how simple they are while also taking their time to reveal what's happening. I'm most interested to know about the old-fashioned cyborg villain guy, me too, because, well, we'll see what you say. I liked the scene where he was going to get taken away, and he said, "It's not me you have to be afraid of." And then the xenomorph killed everyone behind him. One issue so far is I don't like some of the futuristic stuff. It disconnects me from the story. It's more of a personal taste issue as I am not a big sci-fi fan. It takes away some of the relatability for me. Secondly, they are still going through some of the same things we've already seen before. That's right. And that's, to me, that rogue cyborg. I mean, we've seen that a few times. I mean, probably almost, I think, in every single Alien movie. But this time, sometimes they'll just go rogue. This is with the backing of the company he works for, because when they crash land, he radios into them and says, okay, I don't know where that the founder, whatever they call him, which is that young guy who's I guess in charge of the whole thing, what do they call him? A trillionaire. They call him the trillionaire, the founder.
Why is your hand shaking, Safi?
Be quiet. And they're looking for him. So it's almost like he deliberately crashed the place where the founders' colony is. Why? That's what I want to know. And it seems like they did mention at the very beginning of the episode something about there's 5 or 6 or 7 companies and they control everything. And that is kind of scary because it's almost like, you know, I don't know if they got the idea from today, but that's kind of like what people are trying to head to have just monopolies, company monopolies, control everything that's going on and everybody. And so what does this mean? They're all competing against each other. They're all out to get each other. I mean, you don't know. And also, but then he did say too, all the crew asked the cyborg, they said, what is this mission about? And the guy said, or the cyborg said, it's all about what's on the ship, referring to the creatures they're studying. And he said it over and over again. So did they crash so he can infect their planet or whatever you want to call it, or infect whatever they're doing and destroy them? I mean, I don't know, but that's what he said. And he radios in when they crash land, and he says, I'll be waiting you to pick us up or something, like they're supposed to come and get him. So you got to wonder about that. So one issue so far is Marco doesn't like some of the futuristic stuff, and it disconnects him from the story. Anyway, secondly, they're still going through some of the same things we've already seen before. That's true. The characters see the giant eggs with the face huggers and wonder what they are. Check. A xenomorph drools on someone's face? Check. A lead female character takes charge and goes rogue? Check. This is probably why I don't remember the other Alien movies very well. I prefer Predator. My grade is a B-. I'm not really seeing a, quote, great new show yet, or the great idea that got this show green lit. I'm not being wowed like Dexter. Resurrection did and continues to do every episode. Well, that's Marco's review. I don't know what I should be doing, if I should just say, Wendy actually she finds her brother, he's with the rescue team and he's a medic. And she wanted to go on this mission, say they allowed all the simps, which is like a team of, I don't know, a dozen kids, to fly out to this crash landing of a ship into I think it was a 70-something story building. And I can't tell, but she seems like she has more abilities than the other simps. But they all know what they are. Because when they find the brother and he says, oh, you're simps. And because she was with another guy, they were teamed up. And he explains it to them and goes, oh, and he knew about simps too. So anyway, so they go on this. She knows her brother's there because she has a special TV, and she can watch anything she wants with a wave of a hand on a screen. Maybe that's one of the futuristic things Marco didn't care for, but it's like there's cameras everywhere.
Futuristic?
Yeah, futuristic.
Futuristic.
Well, anyway.
No, I don't like, because the whole concept is like aliens on Earth, I guess, because it's called Alien Earth, right? Is that
yeah.
I mean, what is the concept of the show? Like, what is the big
I don't know.
concept?
That's what I'm wondering. What
if
is the deal?
If it's aliens being on Earth, the thing that I don't like about it is that I think it would be really cool to see aliens on, like, present day Earth, and that would be really cool. But it's in the future, so you have like the futuristic like apartment building, and just I don't like that. I just don't like the future aesthetic. I think it takes away the relatability, and it takes away some of the cool stuff that you could have just seeing a picture of like an alien in the modern day.
Okay, well, another thing, I don't know if this, Marco's calling them xenomorphs. They're just aliens to
Those
me.
are the aliens, that's what they're called.
I know, to me, they're just the aliens.
Well, that's not what they're called.
On board the ship was also a monster alien, which is like the mother. And she's the one that's supposedly laid all those eggs. And anyway, the sister is able to see anything she wants. So she saw the crash landing. She was able to find where her brother is and asked and somehow found out he's on the 65th or 67th floor. And it just, to me, I don't know if I'm wrong, but it doesn't seem like the other simps have her capabilities.
The simps?
And that's what they're called, aren't they?
The simps?
Simps?
The simps?
Simps.
Are you a simp for Wendy?
Okay, Marco. So, what happened is the founder, the young trillionaire, who's kind of like a smart Elon Musk and a nicer or more interesting Elon Musk and a younger one, he said he had planted a supercomputer into Wendy. And I don't know, do they all have supercomputers? Is it just Wendy? It sounds like it to me. And because he wanted somebody who was smarter than him, who could at least have a conversation with and enjoy it. And because he just thinks and I don't know, maybe he is smarter than everybody. So she and the team, which is the other simps, they go on these special planes or other spaceships, whatever, and they go to the wreck, and it's like and then they have this. There's already a search and rescue team out there. They're soldiers, and they're looking for. And some of them, the cyborg killed a few, or allowed them to get trapped in a place where the aliens, creatures, the younger ones, killed them. And so Wendy finds her brother, and the situation about the Mr. October is he gets knocked out, but he doesn't get attacked by the alien. They get driven off or something. I can't remember, but anyway, he sees a space ball, and these people were having a party. It was a costume party, like a medieval or some kind of where they were wearing long wigs and weird clothing, and they all got killed. But he got knocked out, and he sees this baseball, and you can wave your hand in front of it, and it puts this little movie on, and it tells. So I guess if you have a collectible, you can wave your hand across. It has this ability to show what this thing or collectible is. And it's a baseball that was hit by Reggie Jackson. He's a famous baseball player. He was on the New York Yankees, and October's when they have the World Series, and he hit 2 home runs a certain game. And they won the game. 3. And they won the series. And I actually saw that, I remember. And I don't think he saw it, but his father saw it and told him about it, and he remembered. He had the memory of it, and he was happy. He had the baseball in his hand, and the people were dead. And I think and it was signed by Reggie Jackson. I think he took it, and his sister Wendy, the simp who is Wendy and who was her sister, says, why are you talking to that baseball or whatever? And so all that goes on, and then he finds out what she really is, and he was really upset and pissed off because his father the backstory is his father told him she was dead, and she wasn't. Her father allowed her to leave and become part of this, quote, experiment, if you want to call that. And she couldn't tell everybody. She couldn't tell anybody. She couldn't even tell her brother. It was a, quote, secret. And she kept saying that word, secret. And so he was like, they hugged and everything, and even though she's completely different, but she remembers. She has the memories of the original human. And so, anyway, they go up there, they're told by, what's that guy's name, to go to the head of the whole team, tells them to go to this place. That's where the eggs are. And then the mama comes, and the mama takes him away. The brother doesn't kill him, takes him away. You know what's going to happen. At least before, in the other alien movies, there's like this kind of cocoon thing, and they put the person in it, and you can kind of see him through there, and you have to get it off of them. And they're saving them for later. To what, I can't even remember what they're going to do with them. I know they're going to kill them. Maybe they're for the babies. I don't know. So she's going to save her brother. So that's the end of the episode, and that's her backstory. And her brother is a medic, like I said, and his name is, I think it's Hermit, right?
I thought it was Joe.
Well, his nickname. He gave himself a nickname. So I thought it was really good, and we were just told the backstory. It was very matter of fact. It wasn't anything hidden or anything, and she didn't want to tell all this right away. But the person she was with kept saying, he said, "We're Samson, and you're her brother," and so he gave it all away, and she was having a fit. She goes, "It's a secret," which is kind of weird stuff. I think that was what Marco was referring to as being a kid in an adult's body. And
well, I think it's really awkward because at first I was kind of worried because she looks to be, in her form, she looks to be the same age as her brother. And so in any other show or movie, or just in real life in general, like you could see him probably trying to hook up with her. And so it'd just be really weird if like she didn't tell him and that he thought that she was like just a regular girl, because then that would happen and that would be really bizarre.
Well, that couldn't happen because that's part of the, what would you call it, drawing power of the show, is you have this whole group of synthetic people, and it's kind of like an experiment. And she's even more of an experiment because apparently she has a supercomputer brain.
You're not listening to what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that by not telling him that she's his sister, it was leaving room for him to like form a connection to her in a different way.
Oh.
And so I thought that was really stupid.
I don't know.
Like the reluctance to tell him.
Well, they jumped right into it, didn't they? I mean, that her friend or her fellow synth told him right away, and just, I mean, you just spilled the beans all over the place, and there was no room for pretending otherwise. So I thought that was nice, because sometimes it seems like in these other shows we have to provide the story. And I'm glad they provided the story. They wrote the story, whatever you feel about it. And I'm glad about that. Because it is complicated. Because I don't know the purpose of them crash landing. And there has to be a purpose. It's called Alien Earth, like Marco says. There's a reason for that. They wanted to infest this place with aliens to kill everybody off and take control, to see how they would fare. It's like an experiment of their own on another place, because this is another company. It's called it's hard to read, it's kind of dark in here, Uram or something. Starts with a Y. or Yukon or something, and they look Japanese. So, in fact, they get a hold of the trillionaire and they say, we have left something in your place, on your planet, and we want it back. And he gets all interested, and like all the other aliens movies, we have the thing where you have somebody and they're real curious about them, so they want to keep them, or they want to keep one and see what's going on with it, what it does. And that's exactly what the trillionaire says. He says, we got to have what's on that ship. I'm like, oh God, there it goes again. So you do have these similarities between the movies, because that's happened like, geez, maybe every single one. Where there's some person who, oh, we got to have that. We need to have that. We need to study it. We need to know what it's all about. And that's the other thing with this thing with the aliens. They've studied them to death. I just don't see.
But this is a prequel. This is apparently, I don't really pay attention to the timeline stuff, but it's supposed to be a prequel.
Well, that makes more sense, because every single one, the first one they appeared, they didn't know what they were. But after that, all the following movies after that, they're studying them. And I think, based on what has happened, that was a ruse. They weren't really supposed to be studying. They already know about them. But no, he said, no, this is a prequel. So, I don't know. We'll see what happens. I think it's some kind of competition between the companies.
Well, why don't you give your review and give a grade?
Okay, I gave it an A.
Wow. I
really liked it, and like Marco said, the second episode was better, and I like science fiction. I grew up in science fiction, and Marco, that's true, he does not really care for science fiction that much. So, and I grew up with Star Trek, so I watched all the Star Trek shows, and Marco has watched how many of those? Very many? 2. I watched the whole first group, and then the Next Generation, which I really liked a lot. I haven't seen a lot of the other ones that they've come up with, but that doesn't have anything to do with this. But I do like sci-fi, so I did like it, and that's it. So I think Marco and I really kind of agree on this episode, at least the likability of it. So that's it, and tonight they'll be playing episode 3, and we'll see if Wendy saves her brother. So that's it. So, and what are they going to pick up? The cyborg? Are they going to? Are the aliens going to start charging out onto the streets? Who knows? So that's it, everybody, and don't forget our new Patreon levels. There's 3 of them, and Marco will use the profits from the Patreon to continue his movie making, because we have been working on a shoestring the entire time, and it's really hard. He manages, but it would help with his movie making, make it a little tiny bit easier to do the things that he needs to do. There's special effects, they're getting people to come here, and like actors and other things.
And most of them suck, so they have to be replaced.
That's not very nice. And that's it. He'll provide, for the Patreon part, he'll provide special content that will be in addition to what we already do. So it will be beneficial, not in just having your name included in the credits, which is one benefit, but also to see things that you wouldn't normally see and hear on the regular account.
You won't ever see them on the regular account.
Ah, okay. So, that's it. So, if you like this, give it a thumbs up and become one of our subscribers. I think we have like 725, something like that. And we're always happy to have more. So, goodbye, everybody.